Okay.
Okay. I hope you stay be active for today. So we're going to move to the next part, which is panel discussion. The topic for today would be like builder foundation, panel discussion, how the builder utilize resources from foundation to make your project succeed. We love panelists would be Emily from Linea and also the Harry from Algorand. So my first question for both of you, like, how do you enjoy? Obviously, you are Vietnamese or not? Hello. How do you enjoy ETH Vietnam and ETH Vietnam in general? Maybe Harry first.
Okay, I just came ETH Vietnam this afternoon, and I think it's an amazing event. I met a lot of projects here. I met a lot of venture capital, a lot of friends, and also I love the session when developers talk about the workshop, how they code, how they improve blockchain. Also, I met my idol, Vitalik Buterin. Yeah, so it is a good so far.
Okay. How was Emily? Because
it's really interesting. This is actually my first time in Vietnam. I have not gotten to see the city at all. I literally just went to my hotel and I went to ETH Vietnam. But I will be touristing around in the next 2 days. But I mean, with regards to the event itself, I feel like huge props to the ETH Vietnam team. They really pulled off something amazing. Like, I don't know how many of you guys know this. Like, they had their original venue and then the government took it away. And they were able to figure out like such a large kind of space to be able to handle everyone coming in within 2 days, which is just mind blowing. So I mean, I've been very impressed by, I guess, just the ETH Vietnam team, but then also generally like there's a lot of excitement and movement here. Like, yeah, a lot of people are using Linea in Vietnam, which I guess I'm not surprised, but like yeah, it's
true. So, honestly, I'm also like very grateful to the Vietnam team and also Miss Queen who made it happen. Like, we have been supporting ETH Vietnam since last year. You know, like it's already been postponed like twice or 3 times already. And when I first met you guys in ETC Paris, we already talked about like ETH Vietnam in November last year, but then it's postponed to January this year and then again on March. But finally we make it, and yeah, we all here going around. That would be great. And for Emily, you already got a chance to view city here. It's quite a place. Actually, I think this place is one of the most romantic places for a couple today. The coffee here in Hanoi, I believe, with the river, with the bridge, the Thăng Long Bridge designed by the French back in 19th century. So, okay, back to story. Maybe this one may be specific for both of you because I know you guys are in different stage of your own foundation. What kind of project you are looking for at the moment on what of your ecosystem? Maybe already to you, Emily.
Yeah. I mean, so first and foremost, DeFi is always kind of one of the most important kind of projects to get on a chain. Number one, because DeFi is the kind of the most obvious use case with the most adoption. Liquidity is actually very important just for chains to move smoothly. We kind of call it a type of infrastructure in the same way you care about like developer infrastructure, like DeFi and that kind of assets moving on is super important. Once you kind of have that like capital flowing, this is kind of where we dive now more into like sticky use cases. So Linea is definitely looking a lot at social dapps, gaming, because we think those are the ones that are really going to bring users that stay. And then actually, recently, we are actually looking for more like NFT projects in terms of like creating an NFT community, bringing artists into the ecosystem. Because I think as it stands right now, Linea doesn't have a huge NFT community, but I'd really love to see that grow. That's how I got into the space.
Cool. So DeFi protocol and NFT. How about memes?
Meme? I mean, memes are everywhere, right? Yeah, obviously. I feel like Linea really leans hard into memes. Yeah.
Okay. And how about you, Algorand? Is it similar or different?
I think a little bit different. We more focusing on currently we more focusing on decentralized identity, also payment gateway, and real-world application. You can see some recently successful project in Algorand recently is payment and reward application, and we want more. Like we have Lofty, we have C3 protocol, and we're looking for more like tokenization process. So I think it's the most focus in Algorand in this year.
Okay, cool. The next question, I think, this should be about for both of you. When you select a project to support, what is the most important factor? Maybe you first.
Okay. So I think the most important, we look at a lot of factors. In fact, we have a valuation and a point or something, but the most important, I think, is the team. Okay, so we have the pointing system for evaluate the project. We have the idea. We have execution. We have teammate. We have traction. We also look at the business plan of the project. But with the paradigm, we have the most point for the team. So we look very deeply about the team background, how they build the product, how they can collaborate with them. Are they full time? Are they commitment with the project? And we also looking like how it is possible that they can be successful in the future with this background. So I think it's the most important factor when we evaluate the project.
Well, you Emily as a background, and you might talk to a lot of developers in general. Besides team and business plan, what is single thing that is more important one when you choose to support project?
I don't know if there's like a single thing. I would say the single thing for a project to be successful is probably, I guess there's two types of projects, right? Because there's like developer tooling projects, like infrastructure. So a lot of that is about adoption. I think when we look at like user-facing dapps, I would say security is probably one of the most important things. You definitely want a project that has like audits and things like that in place. You don't want to fund or recommend something that could potentially harm users on Linea. So if I had to pick one thing, that is what I would be. But like I'm not part of like, what do you call it? I'm not on the BD partnerships team. I'm not on the grants team. I'm not on any of this team, so I don't get to make the decision, unfortunately. But if I had to guess, right? Yeah.
Okay, thank you a lot, Emily. So we talk about characteristic already. Which one should be success in the future? But vice versa, from foundation point of view, from your own resources, what kind of thing you can support the project? Make sure that they are going to be success in the future.
Yeah, so I mean, I think the way Linea views ecosystem support right now is more so how do we capitalize on things that will actually manifest in something that will return long term, right? So I mean, to be completely transparent, right now Linea doesn't have any grants. I can't speak to whether or not we'll give grants in the future, but at least from, I think what we find to be the most successful in terms of making the people who partner with us successful is finding opportunities for co-marketing. Like I said, we are very fortunate to have a large amount of eyeballs kind of looking at our protocol from both the consensus perspective as well as excitement about Linea itself. So figuring out how to spread your name around those. I think being able to create connections from the consensus side as well as within the ecosystem is also something we really focus on. Again, when it comes to, I think, like, if we're talking about like monetary support, we actually have something called the Linea Ecosystem Investment Alliance, Leia. I'm thinking they're going to shorten the name because it's hard to say.
Okay, too long.
Yeah, it's too long, but essentially what you can think of it is it's a group of VCs that have specifically, like, I guess, joined Linea to say we want to fund Linea projects. And so from that perspective, we are able to source applications and send them over. And I think, like, obviously, like, VC money and support is a lot more of a long-term longevity play than, like, a simple grant would be able to give, right? So.
But are you going to give them a tour, like Polygon with the Polygon Village, like bring the project to the VC and a tour, or just send them contact and put it into it by themselves?
I'm not part of that team, so I can't say how intense it is. You know, I don't want to say. I guess I don't want to be inaccurate about anything, so I really don't know.
Okay. Okay. How about Algorand?
So I can, I think it's really right to two side, developer side and marketing side. About the developer side, we want to make coding in Algorand so easy for developer. So we're building some amazing features like IoT. We building PyTune, we're building Picker, we're building P2 Suite to make the developer in Algorand can coding easily. We have a grant program, we have the hackathon. In April, in this month, we have the global hackathon for Algorand. In the marketing side, we have VC connector, we have the marketing package for a project incubator. We also integrate, we also collaborate with CV Lab as a grant program right now. We have deadline as 19 months, and I think, yeah. So I think in Algorand we have a lot of opportunity for builder.
Okay, thank you a lot. So normally when we talk about function support, we're talking about technical support in general, then marketing support, and so grant. And one of the most important thing when giving grant to project is like make sure that project can deliver what they promise in milestone. Obviously, for you, you're not yet having any grant yet, but this one is more specific for Algorand. Like when approved and giving grant to project, the milestone aspect, how does this look like? What's the process? And what kind of milestone you're looking for here in general?
So I think in Algorand you have two types of investment, two types of having like granting. First one is investing directly. So Algorand has spent like millions of dollars per year for potential team, for potential operator like CT protocol. We spend like millions of money for each year for them to build amazing feature for Algorand. Secondly, we have granting program and we have some milestone for it. All the grant of the Algorand with over 10,000 will have the milestone. Normally we let the project propose their milestone, but we're looking for something like the number of users that can came to Algorand, and secondly is the number of liquidity. So I think it's two important metrics that we are looking for when we see the proposal of the project.
Maybe continue on that aspect. What does the DD process look like when giving grant to project within Algorand at the moment?
What's it?
The religion?
In the fact, Algorand Foundation is not directly giving grant for the project, so I'm not involved with it. We have some different identity called Algorand Venture, and Algorand Venture makes a lot of this. So I think it is the question. I think it can deliver to Algorand Venture, and I can answer it later.
Okay, thank you a lot. But do you Emily, because you haven't got any grant at the moment, can you tell us more on what are the support more specifically? And maybe give one example, one of the projects you see that is receiving the support from you and they're doing pretty well so far.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we just look at the Linea voyages, right? So basically, I think what Linea has recognized as an L2 that we are able to offer, right, is connecting users to dapps, right? And specifically in that way, there's, I guess, what I will say here is what we see that dapps need oftentimes the most, right, is like feedback, testing, things that you won't get unless someone is incentivized to use your application. And so Linea runs voyages, right? So we had a DeFi voyage, we're having one right now where it's exploring all the games on Linea. And every single week we have a different set of like types of games. So it'd be like MMOs, action and strategy, social, etc. Specifically directing users to interact with those dapps, right? And this has been like tremendous amounts of success. Our DApp partners have been incredibly happy. And yeah, I mean, a lot of it, especially on the gaming side, was they're like, wow, we didn't realize our UX was that bad until we had 100,000 people complain to us. And like, I think that's like an amazing thing, right? Because you wouldn't, like, how do you know where to build or how to build and like construct your roadmap in an echo chamber of just yourself, right? And so Linea, I think specifically, being able to direct people who have feedback, have been using it and everything, really helps kind of shape the roadmap of what comes next. Yeah.
Okay. Follow on that aspect, like, so what do you think of the old support at the moment? So what, from your point of view, with the project at the moment, what kind of support they need the most? Either it's marketing, technical, or grant in general, for those who you are talking to at the moment, recently.
Yeah, I mean, personally, like most of the projects that we talk to are purely interested in marketing support, right? Again, like grants only take you so far. Like even like a grant is necessary, I guess, for an early project to survive in the first place. But even if we're looking at like 50K, that's not going to pay an engineer's salary, at least in the U.S. I can't speak for engineering salaries elsewhere, right? But I think, especially like if you look at like a DeFi protocol, right? And I can say like, hey, if you come onto Linea, we can bring you X amount of users. X amount of users bringing transactions and like fees and all that to your project is far more sustainable than us just giving you like a couple $1,000s, right?
In that aspect, I would like to quote one of my friends,
Yeah.
Jane from Core CTN. In Vietnam, we could do obviously, there are many ways we are still catching up with the Western world, but one way we do much better is resilient, because living standard here is still a bit lower compared to USA or in Europe, in Germany, where I came from. And because of that one, because of the fact we can survive for 6 months, for 1 year, for 2 years with just standard amount of grant from foundation, and we can live to the bear market and live until the bull market happens. So, yeah, for you further insight on this, and despite the fact the engineering area is not as high as the US, but the quality is pretty good so far, I believe.
Yeah. I mean, like, I can't speak to whether or not we'll have grants in the future. The answer is probably we will, but at least from like when you're bootstrapping the network for the very first time, right? Like, Linea launched Mainnet in July, right? So the most important types of dapps to bring on are dapps that can, I guess you could say, bring in users earlier. More, yeah, consumer focused, have a bit of traction, are already mature enough to be able to handle the type of, I guess, like handle and bring on the amount of users that you would need to basically create a more robust ecosystem. And then I think once you get until that point, and Linea is around that point right now, where we're kind of like strong enough where then you're finally able to say, okay, now we can care about developers who are building something very new, right? Like I'm seed, or like I'm not even ready for seed. But that's not something that we can necessarily support from day one, because if we're only supporting those builders and not someone who's more mature, then those builders shouldn't even come on Linea in the first place.
Okay.
Right? Does that make sense?
Yes. Thank a lot. So the question comes from both of you. Like, what is the best way for projects to prove that they are legitimate, they are be able to succeed in the future with you guys? For example, like I know some projects they try to win your hackathon and to use that, let's say, trophy to prove that they are capable of doing good things. I also know some projects they just build, for example, like some communities, for example, like they do Linea community here in Vietnam, or they do something called like Linea Insider. A lot of my friends who use the same tactic for Sui, they do Sui and the same thing. They prove that they can make community aware of who you are, and then they use as a traction to prove that they are, let's say, somehow can make something succeed in the future. So, what's the best way to prove, even though they are in early stage and they just got MVP? Maybe Algorand, probably.
So I think about the early stage. I think the hackathon is a good way to demonstrate. We like very open with the new process. With the like MVP version, you just have the proof of concept, you have just the MVP, and you have the good slide, you have the good presentation. I think it is Algorand is very open with this process.
Okay, hackathon, winning hackathon. Is it possible like for example like project winning hackathon of another foundation? Could it be a bit of credit?
So currently we're looking for if you in the Algorand, you win another foundation hackathon. If you must you have the idea of changing to the Algorand, you want to be multi-chain, we welcome you.
But as far as I talk to Algorand, you're still looking for exclusive thing to be on Unite, right?
Right. We like with variety.
Okay.
With variety is the most variety is a project only built on Algorand, but we also looking for another potential project and we want to share.
How about you, Emily? Winning hackathon or like you community or you guys? Which one is better?
I mean, I don't think there's like a better or a worse, right? Like, if I'm going to be completely transparent, like, winning a hackathon is a really great way to get in contact with the team. Absolutely. I think in general, it's like the easiest to get in contact with the team if you like are able to establish that one-on-one relationship. To be honest, there's a lot of dapps that have deployed on Linea that we supported like through our voyages where it's not, they didn't even go to the hackathon to hack. They just went because we know our team was there. So winning the hackathon I don't think is a big deal, right? It's just more so getting into our DMs or being able to meet someone or get connected and then like talk through it from there, right? I think probably to that extent, like already having a community is a lot of a stronger sell versus like I'm just a starry-eyed developer. That being said, actually last week I started a group called the Linea Builders Club. So it's very new, but like the whole point of it is basically just bringing in all kind of the early stage people to figure out what they're doing. Like I'm in there, our head of marketing and our BD guy is in there as well to always just like answer any questions. And that's also kind of been a sitting ground as well for our dev tooling partners. Kind of, I guess the tail end of it is they've always asked like, oh, can we give like beta access and other stuff like that. I think that's the fortunate thing about working about Linea as well is because we have the ability to access these other kind of developer tools in their early stage and being able to give people, I guess, the ability to interact with those as well. So I guess there's that. Like honestly, I can't say what the magic secret sauce, magic, whatever words are, you know. I wish I could answer these questions better, but I'm like, I'm more on the technical side. I don't really handle these sort of things.
I would like to follow the aspect with the Builder Club. Are you going to sandbox in US and try to split up to different regions as well?
I mean, as of right now, no. It's just going to be a giant Telegram chat. I would imagine, yes, eventually that is the goal. Like, if you're talking about like community ambassador programs, that is in the talks. I would say like from like a Linea perspective, it's a little bit harder to organize because we are associated with consensus right now. So there's a lot of like figuring out where does this sit with regards to like, can we have a Linea ambassador that's also a MetaMask ambassador and other
the whole
things.
consensus ambassador.
It makes life is hard. I wish we were not. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah. So definitely, I would say local communities is actually number one. I don't speak Vietnamese. I don't understand the market here. Like, I think for me to say that I have any sort of idea of who or what makes a good Vietnamese project is just wrong. I don't know that information.
For the tech people. Hello, protect people out there. So there might be a chance for you to be Linea or consensus, whatever ambassador, going to be in the future. So if you're interested in, you know who to talk to in the future, right?